Hello everyone, welcome to another Android development tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to use Alarm Manager to schedule an alarm for your application. So here I have a very simple application that is um, inspired by this alarm controller demo from Google. So I'm going to go ahead and enter 5 in here, and I will click the first one. It will set the alarm for an activity in the next 5 minutes, and in the next 5 seconds, sorry. Here we go. The alarm has gone off. So to stop your alarm, you're just going to click on the stop button. It will bring you back to the previous activity. Let's try another one. Try the repeating alarm. It will set for 5 seconds, and then after that it will goes off every 15 seconds. So that's the first alarm, and within about 10 to 15 seconds it will goes off another alarm. So and then the last button, of course, is to stop the repeating alarm. So there we go. So it showed that the repeating alarms actually work. So now we can click the stop button, and we'll stop the repeating alarm. Let's wait a little bit more, see if we get any of the alarm show off or it's actually been turned off. So it should be about 10 seconds now. Should be 15 seconds any moment, and nothing showed up. So I'm pretty sure that it is completely turned off. So let's dive in and see how can we create that simple project. So let's create a new Android project in Eclipse and name it to be Alarm Demo. Click Next and choose the package to be anything you want. In this case, I'm going to name it my name dot the alarm demo, and change the application name a little bit. Let's make this to be Alarm Manager Activity. Click Finish. And so first thing, we're gonna create the layout for the main activity. So open your main XML. Here it is. I'm gonna just copy and paste to save the time of me typing, and I have more time to explain to you guys. So this is the body of my main XML. I'm going to copy over here. I'm going to save it. Okay, so first thing, we're going to create a text view. We name it to be text seconds, with the width 50 dips. The height is wrap content, and this the fourth attribute is very interesting. Is set the input type for our text view. So what it is if I open, see, what it is only allow numbers to be entered in here. So you see that when I click onto the text view, it pop up the virtual keyboard, but there's no letters in here. There's only numbers. So that's kind of restrict on what the user can put in here for our application purpose. And then next, I just create 3 buttons, as you see in here, the 3 buttons, and I just named them to be button set alarm 1, button set alarm 2, and then the text is up to you, and I just set up the dimension to be wrap content. So basically, layout width and layout height will all be wrap content, and here's where it is. Here's what it looks like in the graphical layout of the Eclipse editor. So looks similar to what we get in the real device or the Android virtual machine. So let's close that. Next thing we need to do is we need to create the class to handle the alarm activity. So let's call it alarm receiver activity. Click Finish. Okay, this one will extend activity. Let's import that, And over here, I'm just gonna copy and paste my previous project. So copy everything, paste in here. Okay, there's some key components in here. First, in my activity, I couldn't demonstrate for you guys because the test device doesn't have any sound file. But when the alarm goes off, it's actually try to play a sound or play a ringtone to the user. So because there's no sound, so I just gonna print out to the log that there's no audio files can be found. And another thing is, so if I set up the alarm and then I turn off the screen, uh, the activity will bypass the lock screen and wake up the device to show to the user. So, and then there's actually, when they click done, there's a lock screen behind. So to do those kind of behavior, I use media player and the power manager. So and especially I use the WakeLock object of the power manager. So on create method, actually before we do this, we need to have the layout for the alarm. So let's go back to the layout folder and create a XML, the XML file. Name it alarm. Click finish. Let's zoom in a little bit. So I'm going to copy over this. Very simple. There's only one button, and I change the linear layout a little bit. So that's what we get. Okay, now if we look in here, the button is at the center of the activity. So let's go back here and see how we can achieve that. First of all, we will set the layout gravity of the linear layout to be centered, and then the layout width and height to be wrap content. And then we create buttons. We name it button stop alarm. And then width and height is just wrap content, and then the text is stop alarm. So this will create this layout for us. So very simple. Let's go back to this one. I have an error. Let's see. Okay, I need to import. It's different package. So we need the media player to play the music in the background, and the power manager, the WakeLock objects to bypass the sleeping device. So on create, always call the super method first. Next thing, we will retrieve the power manager from the system service. So this is how you do it. You don't instantiate this directly, but you have to call this method get system service, and we ask for the power service. It will return us the power manager. Now next thing, we will create a WakeLock for our activity. To do that, we call the new WakeLock method, and it will take in the flag and the tag. So the flag is full WakeLock, so we want a full WakeLock, and the tag is for debugging purpose. So after we create the WakeLock, we will acquire the lock. So this works similar to mutex if you learn if you have learned multi-threading before. So we will acquire the lock, and during the time we acquire the lock, nobody can use so basically nobody can be focused except us. So we will take the full control of the phone. We'll take the full control of the power system. So we acquire the lock, make sure that we will be shown to the user when the timer goes off. And because Let me show you the documentation from Google. This is how they suggested us to use it. So create a Power Manager, create a WakeLock, and then acquire, and then the screen will stay on during this section. So in between, we will do whatever we need to do, and then when we're done, we will release the lock. So I will acquire it in the on create, and I will release it. I'll show you ahead of the stuff. So I will release it in the on stop method. So basically, if the activity get destroyed, get paused, or get unfocused, it will call it on stop method and make sure that we will release the lock when it stop. So that's it. And the next two things is we will set some flags for the Windows feature and then some flag for our activity. So first of all, we don't want any title bar, and then we will make it full screen. We will show when locked, so we will show the activity when the device locked, and then we turn the screen on because as I demonstrated before, I actually turn the screen off, but when it's when the activity wake up the device, it will turn the screen on. And so basically this will do those kind of behavior. And then after we set up all of this, we will call the set content view to inflate the layout. And then remember, we only have one button, which is a stop button. Then we will create that and try to connect the programming stop button with the graphical stop button in the layout. So we do that by find view by ID, and then we set the on-click listener. So very simple. When the user click on it, we will stop the music player, and then we will finish. Basically, we will finish. We'll stop whatever we're doing, close the activity, go back to the previous activity, and then at the end of the create method, we play the sound. We just play the alarm sound, if you will, and this is the private method. So it will take into the context and the path to the sound file. So the next thing is actually about this private method play sound. So in this method, we set up the media player. We have to try catch here because of this method. It set data source for our media player. It will throw IO exception. Basically, what it is if it cannot find any data in any file to play, it will throw the IO exception, and so that's what it is. And if we catch that IO exception, we just print out the log. There's no audio files found. But if we can set up the data source to play the music, then we go ahead and acquire the audio manager. Okay, same thing with Power Manager. You don't create this directly, but you ask from the system. And once we have the audio manager, I just do some quick check if the volume is not 0, meaning that the phone, the media volume is not mute. If it's not mute, then we play the sound to the user. But if it's mute, then we respect the user decision. We will, we won't play our alarm sound, but just show the activity. And here is how you play the media player. Just set the audio stream to be alarm, prepare, and start, and it will play the music. And we have another private method, which is get alarm URI. We will try to find the any kind of sound for our alarm ringtone. So first of all, we will try to find the alarm sound from the ringtone manager. If we cannot find it, then we try to find the notification sound. And then the last thing that we're trying to find is the ringtone sound. And if we cannot find any of this kind of like alarm notification type of sound in the system, then we're pretty sure that there's no sounds in the system. So we just return um, the same URI, which if there's no sound, it will return no. And um, when the play sounds catch that no URI, it will just print out no audio files are found. So very simple. We don't try to look onto any further music folder than the three basic types of sounds in the system. And then lastly, like I said before, is the onStop method. We call this uh, before the activity get destroyed. And the reason why we do this is because we want to release the lock once we're done. As the documentation saying that this um, this power or this WakeLock functionality will drain the battery life of the device significantly. So they said that you do not acquire WakeLock unless you really need them. So as soon as you are done, we will release the WakeLock and release the device basically. So that's all for the alarm receiver activity. Next thing we want to do is create the activity for the repeating alarm. So I will name this class to be repeating alarm receiver, alarm receiver activity. And this one, of course, will extend the activity class. So, and as before, I'm going to copy and paste this over. Is for the repeating alarm activity, I'll make it simple. I'm going to use the same layout, which is the alarm layout that we created before for the alarm receiver activity. So use the same layout, but we skip all of the playing music and bypass the lock screen, all kind of stuff. You can add in here if you want, but I just want to make this one simple. So we set up the content view, create the alarm, create the button stop alarm, and then just stop the activity when the user click that button. Alright, that's a lot of stuff. Let's go back to the main activity, which is in our case we call it alarm manager activity, and I will copy this one over, alarm manager activity. So there we go. Can get rid of this one. So let's talk about what we need in here. First, we need to create some buttons and the edit text that we have in our main layout. So remember, we have one edit text and then 3 buttons. So 3 buttons, 1 edit text, and then the toast objects, because we will print out a toast to the user quite a lot to tell them, what we did, tell them what they did, and tell them the result. So on create, very standard simple method, and then set content view. And the next thing, we're just gonna hook up the 3 buttons with the 3 graphical buttons, find view by ID, and then same thing for the text, the edit text objects. And so next, we're gonna set some on-click listener for the 3 buttons. So we have 3 of them, as you see. I'm gonna go past them real quick. So let's focus on the first one. The first one is where we want to, if you remember, where we want to set up the one-shot alarm. Okay. So what I did in here is I will have a integer that will receive the input from the user. which is the number of seconds that they put in by calling this method. And this method right here, it will throw the number format exception if the field is not a number. For example, if the field is empty, it will return number format exception, or the user enter in some letters in here. I think we took care of the letter, so they cannot enter letter, but they can leave it blank. And when they leave it blank, we need to have some kind of warning for them. So if it's blank, then print out a toast, please enter some number in here and try again. So that's why I have a try catch method, or a try catch phrase. And then when I catch the error, I will print out a toast. But before I print out a toast, I make sure that it's not busy displaying any toast. If it's not null, meaning that if it's currently displaying some kind of toast, we want to cancel that, and then we make a new toast, and then we show it. So the new toast will be, for our purpose, please enter some number, try it again, and we will show that. And then at the same time, for debugging, I'm going to lock it into the lock cat of Android functionality. So once we get the number of seconds from the text field, we will set up 3 things. We will create an intent, a pending intent, and the alarm manager. So the intent will be, we want to activate the alarm receiver activity, obviously, and it's originated from this class. So that's why, I showed you this before. The first parameters is the context, and then the second one is the class that we want to activate. So once we have the intent, we will create a pending intent. The pending intent is a special kind of object. It is like, an object that's scheduled and intended to be activated later on. So there's 3 ways you can use the pending intent. You can create it by get activity, get broadcast, or get service. Get activity will create a pending intent to activate an activity later on. Get broadcast will activate a broadcast receiver, and get service will activate a service later on. Now, in Google demo alarm controller, they're using the second function, which is get broadcast. If you follow this, you see that you will create a broadcast receiver, and then you create a pending intent for it. So feel free to try them out, but I want to show you how to use the get activity method. Actually, they're very similar. So get activity, what it takes in is the context, the request code, the intent, and the flag. So the context will be context of this class, or this activity. The flag code is something to identify, or the request code actually. The request code is something to identify different activity with each other. You can create like 10 activity that do basically the same thing but different request code, and then you can use them in different situation that you want. And the way that you can identify them is by the request code. And then the intent is, of course, the intent that we want to do. In this case, that's our intent over here. And then the flag is optional, I guess, an optional parameter. It'll have a couple of them. Flag, one shot. I'm sorry. Let's see. You have flat, one shot, flag no create, flag cancel current, flag update. I pick one of them, and if you don't want to use them, just enter 0 in here. No big deal. I use the flag cancel current. So when you I think what they do is when you Say you set up the one-shot alarm, and then you click it 2 times, um, but it actually only registers 1 time because when you click the second time, it cancels the current. So you only have one. That's what it means. And then the next thing we need is the alarm manager itself. And the way that you retrieve the alarm manager is very similar to the way you retrieve the power manager and the audio manager. You have to call system service. And the next thing is the method that set up the alarm itself. So there's the set method and set repeating. The set method will set one-shot alarm. Set repeating, as the name indicate, you will set a repeating alarm. So so how you use set method? Here's how you use it. First is the type. First parameter is the type. In this case, I want to wake up a device, so that's the type. Next thing is the trigger time, which is when do we want to trigger this alarm. So I want to trigger this alarm in the next 5 or 10 or how many seconds, but respectively it is respect with the current time. So first of all, we need to get the current time, and then we add to it how many seconds that the user wanted to goes off, and then the last thing is the pending intent itself. So that's how you set up the alarm. Very simple. And then once we've done all of this, and then we just print out a toast to tell the user what we did, and the format stays the same, so I'm not gonna take too long to go over it. You can look at it yourself. Now the next one is the on-click listener 40-second button, which will set up the repeating alarm. Everything pretty much stays the same. I would say the first 4 items are very similar. I will show you the difference. The intent, instead of calling the alarm receiver activity, now we will call the repeating alarm receiver activity. The pending intent still get the activity, but I will just change the request code. You don't have to do this anyway. Even if you put tune here, this pending intent and this pending intent are actually different because you have different intent in it. So I just want to put something in here. You can put 0 if you want, or any kind of number if you want. And in the alarm manager, retrieve it the same way. And then the set repeating method. So very similar with set method, you need to add one more parameter, which is the interval of repeating this kind of alarm. Now I want it to goes off at how many seconds the user is specifying, and after that it goes off after 15 seconds. So I kind of hard coding this. So I will hard code the interval is 15 seconds. You can use a variable with it. I think that would be a better choice. But to keep it simple, I will just use the easy way. I will hard code it in here. And as always, we'll print out a toast to the user, tell us what we did, and the catch phrase will be the same for the previous one. Now to the stop button, very interesting. For the stop button, we actually don't need the try catch method. So yeah, I'm going to modify this a little bit, because for the stop button, we don't care if the user enter anything in it. We just try to cancel the repeating alarm that is set up, if any of them is set up. So let's format this a little bit. There we go. So in order to cancel an alarm, you need to create the exact pending intent, and then you call the alarm manager, and then just cancel it. So in here, I create the exact pending intent with before, nothing special in here. and then I create or I call the alarm manager, and then I call the cancel method, and I pass in the pending intent. Very simple. Create the exact same thing and you cancel that thing. So it will know which one you want to cancel. And as always, print out what we did. So that's all for the coding. Next thing we need to do is we have to change something in the Android manifest. First of all, we want to sign or register some of the activity that we're using. Remember, we create two extra activity. One is alarm receiver activity. Another one is repeating alarm activity. So we're gonna register them with the Android manifest. Next thing that we need to do is we need to ask for permission to use the WakeLock objects. So I will paste them in here. See what else I'm missing. Okay, that looks very good. Now let's try to run it. Okay, hit run. It will show up on the Android 4.0. So there we go. It looked nicer. I should point out to you that one thing I didn't change is this Mint SDK version. I keep it at 14, while the other one I keep it at 8. Now I will point out to you that I will actually have to change it to 8 in order to make everything work perfectly. So, but first let's test, see if we got what we've been doing. So enter 5, set one-shot alarm, print out the toast as we want, and then it should show the activity. There we go. Shortly, and then we get the error, or we get the log from the media player. No audio files are found. Very good. Let's set a repeating alarm. It will show up in 5 seconds, repeating every 15 seconds. So let's wait another 10 seconds, and then see if another alarm actually goes off. There we go. Now as we click this, it will stop the alarm. Now let me demonstrate how can you or how this application will behave if we turn off the screen after we set an alarm. So like always, I will turn off the screen after setting one-shot alarm, and it will bypass and wake up the device. Sure enough, click stop, and I will get the error for my application. So that's where is the difference between the version 14 and the version 8. And let me show you the error. The error is right here. WakeLock, underlock my WakeLock. I couldn't figure this out, to be honest, but I know where the error comes from. Is from here, and I have spent some time to try to debug it, and I found out that if I change this to be 8, so change the Mint SDK version to be 8, which is Android 2.2. What it means is this one will be compatible with everything from 2.2 and up and above. So if I run this again, now because I have two devices, 2.2 and 4.0, it will ask me which one I want to run. I want to run 4.0 because the 2.2 will behave perfectly, or see if the 4.0 will behave perfectly in this case. And it will, there we go, that's alarm demo, that's our alarm. Now let's set 5, and let's turn off the screen again. This time it will also it will do the same thing, show up the activity, close that, no error except for the media player. And if we unlock the phone, we are at the application, at our application, there's no error about WakeLock happening. So that's the fix. So yeah, to be honest, I don't know what's causing that. I think that's because of the backward compatibility. So there's something in the new Android SDK for the new Android version ice cream sandwich doesn't let us do that. I haven't actually found out exactly what, but if you know what happened in this case, please drop a comments for us, or drop a comments for me. I would like to know what causing this problem. And that's it, everyone. Today we've been through a lot of concepts. We learned how to use Power Manager. We learned how to use Audio Manager and Alarm Manager. So I hope that it's not overwhelmed you guys. If you have any question or comments, please also drop it below. And thank you for watching. Have a nice day.